classic pre-election budget by the BC Liberals, very reminiscent of 2009.
Well, all due respect to the NDP, but there are no pre-election goodies in this week's Liberal budget. Instead, the focus is on balancing the books through spending restraint, land sales, and even higher business taxes.
No, this is not a business-friendly budget. I mean, this is a hat trick of big tax increases. It's going to hurt a lot of families and a lot of businesses long term.
Business taxes are due to increase by about $500 million over the next 2 years. That seems an awful strange way for a government that professes to be a free enterprise to operate.
Business is more than prepared to do its share, and this is probably the right time to do that.
I would call this a bread and butter budget. This was a budget that had a very simple objective in my estimation. It was focused on returning to balanced budget in a very non-theatrical way. This was not, in my view, a pre-election budget that one would normally expect.
We'd prefer not to have initiated or added into the budget. But in asking people with a little more to give a little more, we're cognizant of the fact that to achieve our balanced budget objectives, that was necessary.
Now, the business community mostly supports the Liberals, so they're trying to say nice things. But there are plenty of other people who say this budget stinks.
We're going to sell off assets simply because we have to balance a budget, and I don't think that's right.
I will describe this budget as a budget focused on short-term fiscal balance and missing out on the long-term investments that are needed in poverty reduction and in climate change.
There's nothing in this budget that shows any kind of vision for the future whatsoever. It looks like hospitals, for example, will continue to serve a function as a holding tank for seniors.
I don't think this is the sort of budget one would go out and campaign on. Fiscal prudence isn't the wedge issue or the front-of-mind issue for most voters in BC.
This was a visionless budget that punishes working people by making them pay more in premiums and sells off the assets of the province. I don't think this budget will last past May 14th.
Now, May 14th is the BC election, of course, that may see the NDP get elected. But other than criticizing this week's budget, they're not saying what they do differently.
Well, I'm not prepared to make any commitments at this time. That will be revealed when we get an opportunity to disclose our platform before the election.
Well, at least Premier Christy Clark is trying to balance the budget, but voters who got whacked with the HST after the last election have good reason to be skeptical. The question now is, do voters even care about balanced budgets anymore, or would they rather take a chance on the mystery that is the NDP? For This Week in BC, I'm Sean Leslie.